This is Teacher Kevin coming to you all the way from Canada to tell you about English in the classroom and to help Vivian's students with more ideas at AG University. So today we're going to be looking at the article about marketing to students. In the first paragraph, if we read this together, when you're reading for this information, try to think about the who, the what, the where, the when, and the how. And we'll see how many of those questions a reporter answers in the first paragraph. So the first sentence we've got, the student market in the UK is estimated to be worth 13 billion pounds, that little L is pounds, of spending power in a year. The next sentence is, it is a market no company should ignore, okay? So you have to think about what a market is. It's not like a night market. We're talking about a big market. Then the next sentence is, marketers are desperate to get students' attention before they turn into high-earning graduates. But students are hard to reach and cynical. How can brands target them, okay? So let's move on to the second paragraph. Okay, so in the second paragraph, we'll start with the first sentence. Youth Market Trends Analyst, Jean Pilote de Chenesset. So this is a French name, and it's not really important at all to understand the meaning of the sentence. So don't waste time trying to read his name carefully. You want to focus on the subject and the verb in the sentence. So somebody advises companies who hope to market to students. When I read that, the sentence is much more clear. So the first two sentences just tells you that someone important is advising companies, and he says there's no single strategy. Students organize their life on their mobile phones, okay? Students respect brands that are ethical, but worry more about how they're going to pay off their debt than world peace. To get students' attention, marketers must offer them something that adds to their lives. It isn't enough to simply sponsor a music tour. They have to make the event happen. For example, Carling, a beer manufacturer, introduced live music on the tube. Okay. So there's a lot going on in the first two paragraphs, and it's probably a little confusing. So let's go back and we'll look at the key words. When you're reading an article, use your pen or a highlighter to circle or underline the words you don't know. So the first sentence, the student market in the UK. Estimated, okay, so the first word that might be a little difficult, estimated. You can guess that the word estimated means to guess, and it does. They guess that 13 billion pounds of money, spending power in a year, okay? So basically that means that students will spend a lot of money with their spending power. So when marketers try to market to students to find a good market, they should not ignore them. So the next word that you maybe don't understand is ignore, okay? So ignore means to not pay attention to. Okay, so marketers are desperate to get students' attention. They're desperate, they really need it. So they're desperate to get their attention before they turn into high-earning graduates, okay? Before they graduate and make money. So marketers are already targeting students when they are in university. But students are hard to reach and cynical. Okay, so cynical, you might not know, cynical means they don't believe a lot of things. Okay, so the next paragraph, we've got the Youth Market Trends Analyst. Students organize their life on their mobile phones. Okay, that's very clear. And I'm sure you all agree that all of your life, most of your life is spent on your mobile phone. Students respect brands that are ethical. Okay, now ethical is not in the glossary, but ethical is a word that means they're honest. that they care about the environment or something, okay? So students respect brands that are ethical, that are honest, that care, but they worry more about how they're going to pay off their debt. So the debt is the money that they owe. So students worry more about how they're going to pay off the money they borrowed to go to school than they care about world peace. So to get students' attention, marketers must offer them something. Okay? So again, there's really only two important sentences so far in this whole article. How can brands target them, and how to get students' attention. So to get students' attention, marketers must offer them something that adds to their lives. The marketers must give them something that's important to the student. It's not enough, it isn't enough to simply sponsor a music tour. Okay, so another keyword there, sponsor a music tour. So they're talking about if a famous singer comes to Taiwan, for example, then maybe Taiwan Beer will promote their product at the music concert, okay? That means they sponsor. So the example they give here, Carling, which is a beer manufacturer, introduced live music on the tube. Now, be careful. Many of you think that's probably YouTube. It's not. The tube is London's underground train system. So that's basically the MRT of London. Okay? So if you have any questions, raise your hand now. You can ask. Just kidding. So if we look at the third paragraph, offering students help with their education and careers is an effective marketing method. Okay? So that's the answer to that question. So always think about the question. The questions they're asking here, what are effective marketing methods? How can they target students? And the answer is right there. Offering students help with their education and careers is an effective marketing method. The Guardian newspaper runs careers fairs and offers discounts on its products, such as Guardian Student, a 32-page newspaper. So the Guardian is probably the most popular, the most famous newspaper in England. And so the newspaper has career fairs and offers discounts on its products. Maybe at your universities, you'll have some important companies that come and look for students. Job fairs, such as, for example. Red Bull, a successful energy drinks brand, uses what it calls energy teams on university campuses. So then we've got Red Bull, which you're probably familiar with. They use energy teams to market to students. The company recruits teams of students and gives them a Red Bull car, which has a fridge. So maybe there's another word there you don't know, recruits. Now, it's really important if the words you don't know are verbs. They're the main verb in the sentence. It's also even more important that you guess the meaning. The company recruits teams of students and gives them a Red Bull car. You can kind of guess the word recruits means to look for, to search, okay? If you don't know the word and it's a verb, it's important. You need to know the meaning of the verbs. So start to guess if you don't. So the Red Bull car also has a fridge. The students offer samples and gives information about the product benefit. So they do this on campus at sporting events and at times of the year when students might need an energy boost. So again, we're talking about Red Bull. It's extremely important that it's a student doing this and not a company sales rep, says the company's consumer manager who runs the scheme. A sales rep is a sales representative, okay? Someone who is selling the Red Bull product. And it's important because it's what someone important said. It's extremely important that it's a student doing this. So not only they tell you it's important, so this is a main idea for one of the answers. It's important that it's a student doing this. Okay, says the company's consumer manager who runs the scheme. So these words are not important to understand the last sentence. So you can just move over them quickly. But I'll tell you, a scheme is a plan. You need to have an approach that doesn't look like a sales pitch. And again, sales pitch, down at the glossary, you can guess first, selling something by saying how good it is. Okay, so sometimes a pitch, what's your pitch? What are you pitching? It's like a pitcher in baseball, right? So you throw your idea out there, and if someone likes it, then they'll hit your pitch. Okay, so I just want to say, once again, one more time, it's really not important to understand every word. If you're just moving through things quickly, which you'll probably have to do on some of the GEPT, the Chuming tests and stuff like that, just look at the first paragraph and the last paragraph. That's always where the most important information is. The first sentence and the last sentence of every paragraph is where the main ideas of a sentence are. So don't focus on every word. If you do have a word you don't know what it is, if you don't know the meaning of a verb, it's pretty important to know the meanings of the verbs. So try to guess the meanings of the verbs. And it's also really important to know where the verbs are in the sentence. Let's just go back to the second paragraph, the first sentence. Youth Market Trends Analyst Sean Pilot-DeCensi advises companies who hope to market to students. Okay, so the first 10 words of that sentence are not important. The main thing is someone advises companies who are marketing to students. If you read that first sentence and you know that is someone advises companies who hope to market to students, if you know that that's the meaning, then it's much easier to understand it than spending time trying to read the guy's name. It's a French name, so you probably don't know how to say it correctly anyway, but it doesn't matter. Just skip it and move quickly along to the main idea, okay? So to the fourth paragraph, having an insider on campus can help marketers understand student life. Okay, an insider is a word that you can probably guess. It means someone, ER, is inside. Okay, and it's down in the glossary. Someone who is part of an organization who has special knowledge of it. Okay, so having an insider on campus can help marketers understand student life. Youth marketing agency, Virgin D3. So again, who? It doesn't matter. Someone that's good at marketing. Has a database of students who act as field staff. Okay, so all you need to know there is that someone, a company who is marketing, has field staff. That means they have people that are students. Basically, they're spies, or not really, but they are students and they work for the company. So they help give feedback to the company to tell them if people are using Facebook, if people are using Line, WeChat, these kind of things. What products are people using? What's cool? What are people doing now so that the big companies can plan and prepare? They ask them for help when planning an event at their university. Perhaps by getting ideas from the students themselves, companies can find ways to reach this difficult market. Okay? So again, the first and last sentence of every paragraph, let's just read it. Having an insider on campus can help marketers understand student life. That's the main idea right there. The final sentence is, perhaps by getting ideas from the students themselves, companies can find ways to reach this difficult market. That's the main idea of the whole final 2 or 3 paragraphs, just right there. So now I have some questions for you, because the main idea is about marketing to students. And they talk about some British products like Carling beer in the UK that you're not familiar with. Why don't you think about Taiwan and think about, in Taiwan, what are some international brands in Taiwan? So think of some international brands, and specifically think of some international brands that try to market to university students. How do they target the students in Taiwan? So try to answer those two questions, okay? What international brands target students in Taiwan? And number two, how do they target students in Taiwan? Okay? Thanks again. We'll see you again. Goodbye.